All right, ladies and gentlemen, in order to be successful for today's instruction, you need to have out 2 sheets of loose leaf paper. You need to have your essay out and the 2 prompts you picked up yesterday, please. So, in order to be successful for today's instruction, you need to take out 2 sheets of loose leaf paper, your essay, and you need to have the 2 prompts that you should have picked up yesterday.
Where's my
Jen, I think that's how you left it. I'm just
No, I
like,
have it.
All right, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so what I would like you to do is let's get the homework taken care of so everyone knows exactly what's for homework tonight. So that way you know exactly why we should be working hard today so we can help you with your homework tonight. Okay, so first things first, let's talk about your CCOT that you have for homework tonight. Okay, first thing is you are doing, this first one is due Monday. Yes, a week from Monday. Yes, girl. Okay, the first one only. Now, let me make this explicitly clear because I apparently have been inconsistent. Not that I've been trying to, it's just I'm ready to be done with you people.
me too.
I am waiting for 3:30 with all of my hope and my joy. And I just don't want to be here right now. No offense. But we're going to use our time effectively, of course. This requires synthesis. Everyone gets that, correct? Your LEQ and your DBQ require synthesis. Your SAQs do not require synthesis. Okay, so no synthesis. Okay, so on your short answer questions, there is no synthesis. You literally restate the prompt, give the correct answer, provide your evidence. That's it. Same thing we've been doing all year. You are doing number 1, number 5, number 11, and number 12. Ladies and gentlemen, I cannot stress enough, there is no synthesis for SAQs. There's no synthesis. These are all due. You have 5 essays. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I would really like to plan this entire essay for you today. That's the goal. Last period got pretty damn close to it. So, let's make that happen. Is that okay with you? All right. So, what I would like you to do on one of the blank sheets of paper, you're going to, what you're going to do with a blank sheet of paper and your essay, you're going to hand it to someone else. Blank sheet of paper and the essay, hand it to someone else.
I need one. I gave you 2.
Yes. Take the essay and the 1 sheet of paper, hand it to a person. Go. Okay. Once you have someone else's essay, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to write down the rubric. Here we go. Now, at the very top of the paper, you're going to write their name. In that very big margin, write their name really nice and big. So, what you are doing right now is you are simply copying down the rubric. The goal today is to hustle through my stuff so we can help you plan your essay. As soon as you finish writing it down, you're going to begin coloring it. Just super quick. It doesn't need to be beautiful, people. What do you got, Lucas? 1 point for evidence, 1 point for correct. So everyone should be coloring in their rubric. You got like 30 seconds to finish your rubric stuff. Why'd you do that? So you can cross it off and they get it right. Oh, you put the 1. Got it. All right, I got it today. Takes me a second. I got it. So am I the only class you're here for? When you're going home? Good. Because you look miserable. I mean, I look miserable, but that's just because I don't want to be here anymore. All right, 3, 2, 1. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you are now going to just do your thesis paragraph. You are going to read it, color it, and score it, please. Sorry. Sorry. All right, who has a good contextualization in front of them? Who has a good... What do you got, Julie?
The Colombian exchange and triangle trade between Western Europe, Africa, and the New World caused an economic, social, and cultural boom.
I like it. Perfect. What else we got? Anyone else got a good one? Madison.
During the time period, the Portuguese settled the Mongol dynasty in China.
No, they didn't. The Qing fall. The Qing are in power, so it's wrong. 0. Gus. Perfect. I'm already happy with it. You're good to go. What do you got, Kyle? Fine. Yeah, I mean, anything with Columbus will work. All right. All right, here we go. You are now doing your first content paragraph. Making sure you're scoring as you go, people. Making sure you're scoring as you go. What do you got, Lucas?
From the restate prompt, they didn't say the whole thing, they just said one aspect of the
No,
course.
that's wrong. Yeah, that's completely wrong. They know better than that, and I'm mad at that person. They know better than that. What a dumb point to lose. Can we agree? Now, when you get the paragraph you had to do the synthesis for yourself is for cash crops, correct? Okay, so when you get to the cash crops
No, it was the
caste system,
yeah.
okay, when you get to the caste system, let me know what their synthesis is. I'm assuming it's probably the last one they wrote.
Yeah.
Just because it makes sense, you would do the two complete ones and then do that one. But when you get to their social structure one, let me know what it says so we can check their synthesis is correct. Is everyone clear on that? Hello? Okay. Jeremy, are you all done? Okay. So, you should be finishing your first content paragraph. You should be heading into your second content paragraph. Keep in mind, when you hit social structures, you should be asking me about the synthesis. You should be about to finish your your second content paragraph and be transitioning into your third. What do you got, Sarah? No, they don't have to say the Spain and Portugal part, but they do have to talk about the date. Oh, then yeah, they have to introduce who they're talking about. Yeah, then take off the point. Because in the prompt it doesn't say Spain and Portugal. We put Spain and Portugal in there. What do you got?
Referencing referred to the social structure building as a difference when we do it in process of similarity.
You can do it as a difference. As long as they have a similarity somewhere, do they?
Yeah, they have
Okay, then it works. Amy, are you okay back there? Do you have an essay in front of you? How is it? Okay. Yes.
Like if we could
Perfect. It's done. You got it. They got the 2 points. Alexandra.
This is similar to the caste system in India. It ranks all people in an organized system with Hinduism. In this system, they were divided into 4 castes. Brahmins.
Got it. They got the point. Skyla.
Like these two empires, another culture that had a strict social system that placed those of lighter something higher up was the caste system in India. The caste system Romans.
Okay, guys, as long as they are like talking anything like the 3 of those, it scores. As long as they have evidence to support what they're saying. What do you got?
Drainage transmission to the subject of CE, Hindu kingdoms use a case system. They use a case system to verify the people and establish order within their entire population. For example, the Mauryan Empire founded by Shah
1 point. Their mayor is kind of weird. What do you got, Sarah? It's open. Yeah, that's of course. Hold on. What do you got, Minnie? Hell yeah, I was waiting for an area for hair, but give it to him. What do you got?
Where'd you start marking?
Alright.
Yeah.
Here we go. You've got, now, ladies and gentlemen, you should be finishing up your 3rd content paragraph. Okay? You should have scored their entire rubric. Okay? Your entire rubric is out of 26 points. Your entire rubric is out of 26 points. So once you total it up, please write it nice and big by their name at the top of the page.
When I said the contextual exception, you didn't let me finish what they said, replaced by the main characterization of Chinese culture. But that's still small, so
No, because the Mongols are gone before 1492. They fall in the 1200s.
They say the Mongol rule beyond dynasty in China was ended, replaced by the Ming.
But the Ming take it over before 1450.
So you want to talk about that?
Give them a point. I see how you're trying. Give them a point. All right. Now, at the top of the page, you should have the grand total. I'm going to pass out a stapler. As soon as you get a stapler, you're going to staple the rubric on top of the essay, please. Rubric goes on top of the essay. You are then going to write 2 pieces of positive feedback, 1 piece of constructive criticism. Oh, Gus, I like your shirt. 2 pieces of positive feedback, 1 piece of constructive criticism. Constructive criticism is something they can learn from. Saying, hey, you know, you really struggled on the thesis, but, you know, make sure you're following the time period. Something like that. Your evidence was really weak. Make sure you're following, making sure you're being clear. As soon as you get that stapler, you need to staple it immediately. It goes rubric, then essay. Everyone should have 2 pieces of positive feedback, 1 piece of constructive criticism. One piece of constructive criticism, 2 pieces of positive feedback. As soon as you get that stapler, staple it immediately, please. Okay. You have 10 seconds to completely finish scoring your essay and writing down your feedback. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, get up and talk to the person who you scored. Go.
Really good job. have good evidence, having formatting, and making your take the entire prompt. Or like, yeah. Other than that,
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, ladies and gentlemen, believe me, we want to plan that CCOT, don't we? So let's get back on track. It's up to you. You can go now if you want, or you can wait. All right, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, please listen carefully to the instructions. Tonight, can I have your paper? Okay, when you are leaving my class, you're going to take the essay you just scored and you're going to put it next to the crayon box. You have to put the crayons in anyway. Everyone clear on what's happening? Perfect. Take out the prompt for the CCOT. We're going to start planning that because that's what we really care about, don't we? Okay, so, ladies and gentlemen, your prompt for tonight is a CCOT. Who can raise your hand and tell me what a CCOT stands for? Alexandra. Changes in continuity over time. Are these our favorite essays? They're not that bad. They're not too bad. So, ladies and gentlemen, do you need synthesis? Yes. Here we go. The interconnection of Eastern and Western hemispheres transferred trade and religion had a significant economic, cultural, social, and demographic impact on the world. Ladies and gentlemen, when you saw and you heard Western, Eastern hemisphere, you immediately should have thought of what term, vocab term? Julie?
Columbian exchange.
Columbian exchange. Develop an argument that evaluates how new contexts amongst Western Europe, Africa, and the Americas from 1492 to 1750 led to social and economic transformations that occurred in the Atlantic world. When you saw Western Europe, Africa, and the Americas, you immediately should have thought of what vocab term, Skyla? Triangular trade. Okay, now... They also say occurred in the Atlantic world. The Atlantic world only includes Americas, Africa, and Europe. Why? Why, Kyle? Yeah, they're the only ones in the Atlantic Ocean. So you can't talk about China. You can't talk about Indian Ocean Basin. It's the only thing you can talk about. Okay. So, they're only letting you talk about social and economic, which is good because those are the easier ones, but. All right, here we go. So, looking at our planning, you are writing a CCOT. It is on the Columbian exchange, Columbian and triangular trade. Only Atlantic Basin can be used, and we are dealing with social and economic only. So we're going to make a T-chart. We're going to have continuities on one side, changes on the other. All right, who can give me a change to the Atlantic world because of the Columbian exchange being opened? Faster we go, the less planning you have to do. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I will give you a hint, okay? I am completely ready for this break to occur. I don't know if you can just tell by who I am as a person today. I'm over it. With that being said, I would do yourself a favor today and finish planning this essay today. Can we agree? Okay, even if we don't finish in class, I would do it during lunch maybe and just finish planning it. I'm not telling you to write it. Don't write it. You can write it at a different time, but I would finish planning it today because it'll be easier because you're in the right headspace today. Does that make sense? And that way you can only focus on the SAQs on that Sunday. That makes sense? That was what I suggest. You can ignore it all you want if you'd like. Kyle. Fine, but like what do the guns cause? Violence is not social or economic, it's political, so no.
The New World gets smallpox and although millions of Americans die.
Is that social or economic? It's neither. It's interactions. What do you got?
Distorted gender ratio in Africa.
There you go. I'll take that all day. Distorted gender ratio in Africa. Perfect. Okay. It is caused why, Julie?
It's caused because all the men who are like not too young or too old are like being taken as slaves and away from Africa.
There you go. All right, so distorted gender ratios in Africa is the topic. It's caused by the Atlantic slave trade. Ages 15 to 35-year-old men are taken. Okay, so what is the impact of it? What is the social impact of it? What is the social impact? Addison.
Polygamy became more common.
Polygamy is more common. And why, Addison?
Because it was their culture that like the women had like rights, they had to have a husband.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, so the less men, okay, marriage gives rights, gives some rights to women. Okay, do we have anything else to support this? What else can we say?
Reports of all men were taken as slaves.
Not for the whole continent, no. Not for the whole continent. That's pretty good. Don't we think? That's definitely a change. All right, do you want to do synthesis now or later? All right, here's the kicker. When do we have a gender distortion in another place that is not in the Atlantic Basin? I'm going to teach you one, but I haven't taught one yet. It's in the future. Well, it's in the future to us in 1750. Where do we have a gender distortion today in 2019? Lucas?
India.
No.
You know,
No. Jeremy?
China.
It's in China.
oh, wait,
Oh, so
China. In modern day. In present day. Let's do present day. In present day has a distorted gender ratio with more women. Nope, that's a lie. With more men than women. Okay, why? I haven't taught this to you, but you should know. Carly?
because when they find out they're having a girl child,
No,
they want male.
no. What do you got, Madison? One child policy. It's because of the one child policy. So because they could only have one child, Carly, that's when they started getting. So you have to be able to say the one child policy and mass abortions for females. There you go. All right. Hey. Okay. All right. We got one. We need another change. Harrison.
Economic dependency of Europe on Africa.
Oh, that's a good one. Oh, that's a good one. Economic dependency of Africans on European goods. On Europeans. Oh, that's good. Oh, I like it.
Isn't that like interaction?
No, it's economic. They're going to sell the
Oh,
guns.
no.
Yeah. Okay, so how does it originally start, Harrison?
The Europeans sell guns.
Cool. What's the fancy term for that?
Manufacture goods.
No. Hi. Who can help me? Gabby? Triangular trade. Triangular trade. Africans get guns. Okay? Alright. What's the impact of this? What would be evidence? We need evidence. Who's a lovely piece of evidence for Africans getting guns, people? Gus. First, fully armed military. There you go. Perfect. Okay. Synthesis. The kicker is I haven't taught you this. Do you see how this is going to get easier as we go through more content? Which is part of the reason I also waited as long as I did to teach too. What would be a modern day example or modernish example of economic dependency of Africans on Europeans? What do you got?
Can we talk about how the colonies were dependent on trading? Is
The colonies weren't because they rejected them. Oh, I see what you're doing there. I see what you're trying to do, but no, they're not economically dependent. What do you got, Gus?
In the early days of the United States of America,
Okay, that's what she said. It's kind of, it can't be in the it can't be in the Atlantic Basin, remember? Can't be in the Atlantic Basin. Or it can't, when you're talking about it, it can't be during the same time period. But it can be in the Atlantic Basin. It'd be better if it was somewhere else. Where do we have people completely dependent on outside power? Harrison, sorry.
Landlocked countries in Africa. They don't have access.
Yeah, what the hell do you think is happening here, man? Are you talking about today in 2019?
Yeah.
What the hell? What are you talking about?
they do depend on trade with,
No, I know, but like, he said landlocked countries.
other
Yeah.
countries that have no access to water.
Yeah, what is your evidence, boss?
They don't have ports.
No. Lucas.
You say China's dependency on trade, yes.
I would not say. Trump would tell you they actually don't depend on us nearly as much as he thought we did. Yeah, so I would not say that. This is the problem with this one. It's a little trickier. You can use the British, the Indians' dependency on the British. Actually, I want to go British. I was right when I said British dependency on India during their occupation. During their occupation, they call it the nickname of the jewel in the crown. Okay, it is their major, most important port, most important colony. For their goods and markets. You're welcome. All right, continuity. Here we go. What is a continuity? Something that started before 1492. That's going to continue beyond 1750. Good luck. What is something that started before 1492 that is going to continue socially or economically? Alexandra? You can't just say slavery.
Socially,
Social.
well, wait, okay, like slaves in Africa, like from Africa continue. 'Cause it's
Don't tell me
hard.
slaves in Africa. Give me a specific component of it, and then you're completely correct. Okay, just say slavery in Africa. Who is buying slaves in Africa? Who's capturing slaves? Yes, Africans selling Africans. There we go. Okay. Pre-1492, what is our evidence that Africans were selling Africans? Lucas.
Is it when the Portuguese
No.
and
No. Stay away from the Portuguese. Skylar.
Arabs are the largest purchasers.
Who?
Arabs.
Arabs, specifically who?
The
Swahili city-states. Fantastic. Swahili city-states. Export slaves to Arab territories. Bomb. Okay. Post 1750. Arab territories. What's happening after 1750? We haven't got there, but we need to show a continuation. Or you can do during. What would be another example of Africans selling Africans during this time period? Show its continuation. Oh, God, people. It's the most obvious answer of the day. Kyle. Kyle. I'm so sorry, Kyle. I know your name's not Kyle. I don't know why I called you Kyle. Jack.
Transatlantic slave trade.
Transatlantic slave trade. And what can you tell me for your evidence?
The European colonies.
Don't tell me European colonies. Who's the one buying slaves, people? Carly. Brazil's not buying it's not buying slaves. Lucas. The British aren't really. Guys, who is going high? You're saying Africans selling Africans. So that means you have to be on what continent? Africa. So what European is showing up in Africa and purchasing slaves? Not hard. Skyla. The Portuguese. Huh? Hi, let me deal with it. Okay, so during the time period, you have the transatlantic slave trade. You have the Portuguese purchasing from who? From Africans. Okay, and they're getting what in exchange? The Africans get what, people? Kyle. Manufactured goods. Perfect. Now, it is really wonderful when you can do a post. When you're doing a continuity, if you can do before the time period, during the time period, and after, that just solidifies your answer to be just off the chain, absolutely perfect. Does that make sense? What is a really nice date that I taught you 2 weeks ago that shows that Africans sell other Africans beyond 1750? Alexandra.
it was abolished in Brazil in 1888.
The last slaves were purchased from Africa by transatlantic slavery. Was in 1888 by Brazil.
The last slave.
From Africa. Like the last importation of slaves from Africa is happening in 1888. Now, are we having slavery beyond then? A little bit. No, that's the last like slaves. We have like sex. We have, what is it called when you were selling people now? We don't call it slavery. Human trafficking. Human trafficking is going to kick up. But it's a little bit different from slavery because in human trafficking, you can't publicly acknowledge that you own that person. Does that make sense? With slavery, it was by law protected that you could own another person, which is why it's not technically slavery, but what is it? It's slavery. All right, what's your synthesis? Good luck. Your synthesis can be on people being exploited by their own people. That could be a synthesis you come up with. Gus?
Russian serfdom.
Serfs are not slaves.
But they're almost slaves. That's what you said.
No, they are almost slaves. You're 100%, but technically there's a contract in their familial history. So I'm going to say no. Lucas.
We use like the slaves in like the Incan or in Aztec empires.
What I would do is I would do.
Or like they made them do like gold and stuff.
Oh, we know empires that sell. Like if what are some empires that sell? You can sell your children. Keep in mind, we're supposed to be outside the Atlantic Basin if we're doing it during the same time period. What are some empires that sell that you can be sold into slavery? That it's not a race thing. That it is just because you can't afford it. What empires are those? That people are turning in debtors into slaves. What do you got, Julie?
Was it in the Roman empires?
The Roman empires. Roman Empire. People could sell their children. Wives. And debtors into slavery. Okay, what would be a piece of evidence that we could use for this? Alexandra.
Like the gladiatorial games.
That's the only thing I could have come up with, too. Gladiatorial games. Perfect. Here's slaves. Yeah. Sale by other Romans. Perfect. Gladiatorial game, use slaves via the sale by other Romans. There you go. Huh. I was not expecting talking about Rome today, but it works. What do you got, Sarah? No. The fact that you're saying the Roman Empire is the correct answer. The fact that you're connecting it to them being Roman people being able to sell their own people, which is what we're talking about here. Africans selling Africans, right? So the fact that we're throwing out gladiatorial games is the evidence. So it would work. How much time do we have? Perfect. Good. We planned your essay out. So I wouldn't do shit. Until next Sunday. Unless you want to just knock it out to make sure you have it. But, like, I wouldn't. Now, other classes have not finished, which I think you would agree it makes sense to finish it today if you didn't finish it, right?